I want to come back to the Bible, the New Testament specifically. You had mentioned in your book that the people who had written the scriptures did not know at the time that they were writing the Bible.
Well, so the person I talk about most in this book is the Apostle Paul, who is a good one to talk about with respect to the New Testament because of the 27 books in the New Testament, 13 of them claim to be written by Paul. These letters that Paul wrote are actual letters. He has started a church someplace, and people then have become Christian. They've converted from being pagans. They're worshiping together every week. And he then leaves to go to another city to start another church, then to another city to start another church. And over time, he hears from his converts about the problems they're having. And he writes them in order to deal with these various problems about what to believe, about how to behave, about problems that they're having. And so the letters of Paul are actual letters sent through the ancient equivalent of the U.S. Postal Service. So he had no idea that he was writing scripture. He simply was writing his churches. Later Christians, much later, started saying, actually, these are authoritative texts for us. They're not just for the Corinthians or the Philippians. They're for all of us. And they started gathering together. And then they started thinking of them. Actually, these are as authoritative as the Hebrew Bible, the Jewish scriptures. And so they started considering these letters the Bible. And so all of the books of the New Testament have some kind of occasion or context like that these people didn't have any idea that they were writing texts that were going to be around for 2,000 years and revered for their inerrant revelation. They were just writing books.
That's interesting. I mean, how do you get from Paul is sending a letter to Corinth, some guidance and instruction, perhaps even correction, to this is a message that should be embraced by the entire world for all of posterity? I mean, that's just, it blows your mind.
Well, yeah, it probably would have blown his mind, too. I mean, he certainly had a high view of himself, and he had a high view of his authority. But the idea that people would look upon these occasional letters that he wrote as being, given by God, that's quite a shift. But it's because the early Christians who were deciding what is the right thing to believe and what are the right ways to behave, especially in the decades and centuries after Paul, they had to find some authorities to direct their actions and their beliefs. And they ended up saying Paul is the one who directs our actions. And so he takes on a kind of authority that he didn't have in his